My 28F sister Abby, 36F, abandoned my nephew, 20M, when he was 14 and now she wants me to help her get back into his life. Should I help her? 6 years ago, Sammy lost his childhood best friend. These boys were so close that LJ would come with us on family vacations. They had known each other since they were 3, and people would think they were twins. LJ passed away in a car accident when he and his father were hit by a drunk driver. I'll be honest, it hurt. I felt like I lost a nephew. LJ and Sammy would spend the night at my house all the time when one of their moms had to work. Sammy was understandably distraught. Abby would tell you that he started to act out, but I don't see it that way. Yes, he acted differently, but I feel like every parent here would have given him a pass. Here's a list of the things Sammy did that Abby couldn't handle. His grades dropped from all A's to B's and C's, with mostly B's. He would skip one of his classes to go hide in the library because the teacher made a memorial for LJ and he couldn't handle seeing it every day. This was also within the first week of his passing. He didn't want to play basketball anymore because it reminded him of LJ. He later told me that it made him sad to think of all the plays they made together. I know I'm not a mom, and Abby would always say I would have understood if I was one, but I still feel like Sammy was a kid who lost his brother basically. 3 months after LJ passed, Abby and Sammy showed up at my house. Sammy was crying and had a bag with him. Abby told me that either I could get him or she would drop him off on the street. I told him to go to my guest bedroom because I didn't think he should hear that stuff. That night I tried to talk to Abby. I asked her what was going on. At this point, I told Abby that I thought losing LJ affected her too. LJ used to call her his second mom. Abby ignored me and left my home. Sammy moved in with me, and it was hard for a while. Abby just moved away. She stopped responding to my messages or calls. She would call our parents, but she would hang up if they mentioned Sammy or me. She went no contact with all of us. Now, I am unsure if this is true, but I believe it is. A few days after Sammy moved in, I asked him what happened with his mom that night. He looked me in the eyes and told me that Abby said the wrong boy died that night. Now, Abby denies this, but 6 years later, Sammy will still say it word for word. Abby changes her story. At first, it was she would never say anything like that, then it was Sammy was overreacting, then it was that's too long ago for me to remember. Again, I don't want to say something happens that I am unsure of, but I 100% believe my nephew. My husband, my boyfriend at the time, helped me to take care of him and we put Sammy in therapy. It was hard. I felt like I became the mom of a teenager overnight. My parents tried to help, but it was a lot for all of us. Currently, Sammy has gone to college and just finished his 2nd year. Sammy got an amazing internship, and my husband and I threw him a big party in early May. Abby showed up saying how proud of her boy she was. Sammy just stared at her before walking away. She spent the entire party telling his friends and everyone else how she raised such a fine young man. After the party, Sammy told her he never wanted to see her again and that he didn't have a mom. Now this is where I'm torn. Some of my family feels like Abby deserves a second chance, but I don't. I don't want to let my feelings hold Sammy back, but I really don't think she deserves it. I remember calling my sister for weeks trying to get her to talk to her son. I remember when her son broke his arm and I texted that he was in the ER. I remember his first date. I remember when he graduated high school. I remember driving him to college. I remember my husband teaching him to drive. I remember every time I tried to contact her. She had more than one chance. My mom believes that I am afraid of losing my maternal role in Sammy's life, but that's not it. I have always kept the mindset that I am an aunt. It's just when you have a 14-year-old cry to you because his mom won't answer his calls and ask you why doesn't she love him, that changes your mind. Should I encourage Sammy to see his mom? Also as an add-on, Sammy doesn't want to deal with her at all, but my mom believes that if I encourage it, he will. Abby is also asking me to help her reconnect with Sammy.